Dan. I'm so glad that we could find a time to meet. Before we get too settled, I wanted to quickly check in and make sure that you're comfortable. Feel free to sit anywhere.
I'm fine where I am, thanks. Thank you for seeing me today. I'm sorry if our phone conversation was rushed. I just don't really like talking on the phone.
No worries at all. It can be challenging to share personal information with a stranger over the phone. Hopefully, we'll both find it easier to share in person. I wanted to let you know that we have about 45 minutes for our meeting today. There's a clock on the table next to you if you'd ever like to know what time it is. As you probably already know, my name is Clint Toll, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I hope that I can be of assistance to you today. Do you have any questions for me at this time?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay. If anything does come to mind, please let me know. I firmly believe that we'll have a more productive session today if we're both comfortable and relaxed. Now, I believe that you said you wanted to speak about your depression today. Is that a good place to start?
It's as good as any to start, I guess.
Great. Let's start there then. If at any time you feel uncomfortable about the pacing or direction of our conversation, please let me know. We can always shift gears or switch topics completely. With that in mind, what brought you to seek assistance at this time?
Well, I've been feeling depressed and lethargic recently. I'm not enjoying my kids, my husband, or my friends like I used to. I have no appetite anymore. I don't want to do anything. And I'm finding it harder and harder to get out of bed in the morning. My alarm goes off, but I'll keep hitting snooze until it stops and I go back to sleep. I've even slept until 10 a.m. a few times, 3 hours after I planned to get up. Of course, I feel horrible about myself for oversleeping and not taking care of the kids. I feel like such a terrible mother and a terrible partner. And then I just don't see any reason to get up at all. When I do get up, the empty house just seems to remind me of the fact I couldn't get up and help. I'm just so tired of feeling tired.
That sounds like a challenging way to start your day. You mentioned feeling like a terrible wife and mother, but I wanted to point out that you took an important step in seeking assistance. It can be very difficult to ask for help, so I hope that you can be proud of yourself for doing so. It also sounds like you're not happy with how things are currently and would like them to change.
I do want things to change. I hate not being there for my family. When my kids and husband come home in the afternoon, I'm usually so embarrassed by my behavior that I hide out in my bedroom and pretend that I'm napping or that I have a headache. I don't know how to explain to them why I couldn't be there for them that morning and the day before. It just adds up. I feel so guilty and ashamed that I just shut down.
You're willing to change, but are feeling weighed down by other days that you felt you couldn't be there for your family. Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. Every night I promise myself I'll do better the next day, but then I oversleep and remember how long I've been avoiding my family. I feel horrible and the cycle starts all over again.
Cycles can be difficult to break, but I think it's great that you've realized that you're temporarily caught in such a loop. That's an important self-realization. Is there anything else troubling you at this time?
Well, I've been having trouble sleeping at night as well. I mean, I don't really do much during the day, so that's not really a surprise. For a while I was taking some sleeping pills to help, but I stopped recently when I noticed that I needed to take 3 or 4 of them for them to work. I didn't want to get addicted. My mom struggles with addiction and depression for her whole life. I didn't want to end up like her.
Thank you for sharing that with me. I appreciate your honesty and willingness to discuss challenging things. It seems like you're well aware of some of your own personal struggles and that you seem to have a high level of self-awareness in general. Do you think that's accurate?
I'd like to think so. I mean, I feel like I should be more aware of depression and addiction than most, given my own family and personal histories. I'm also a firm believer in meditation as a path to self-knowledge, but I haven't been practicing much of that lately.
I think that meditation is an excellent tool to have in your tool belt. I try to meditate regularly and recommend it to pretty much everyone. I'm thrilled that you're already familiar with it. You mentioned that you haven't been meditating much recently. What does that look like exactly? What did it look like before you started to feel depressed?
Well, I like to meditate first thing in the morning when it's quiet, but I haven't been getting up early enough to do so. And once it's past like 9 o'clock, I feel like it's too late to really sit, that I've already wasted too much of my day by sleeping in. I think that I've only really meditated a few times in the last 2 months.
It sounds like you had a pretty consistent practice up until about 2 months ago. I think that reestablishing your meditation practice might be a good place to start. How does that sound to you?
I guess so, although I'm not really sure that it will help.
I appreciate your willingness to try. I think that it's important that we work together to establish reasonable goals, ones that you're willing to work toward achieving. If I suggest a goal or task for you that just doesn't feel right, please let me know. That being said, do you think you could find time to meditate 3 to 4 times a week?
I'm not so sure. I mean, I'm not meditating at all right now, and I can't seem to get up in the mornings anyway, so I'm worried that I couldn't meet that goal, and then I just feel worse about myself.
Thank you for so much for letting me know your concerns. Would 2 to 3 days make more sense, or should we focus on something else instead?
I'm not sure why, but 2 to 3 days feels a lot more doable than 3 to 4. I'm still a little worried about finding time to meditate, though.
That's completely understandable. Are there other quiet times in your day when you could potentially meditate? Is there time after your kids go to bed?
I guess that I could try to meditate right before I go to sleep. It may even help me with my insomnia.
Excellent. I'm going to note that we set a goal of meditating 2 to 3 times, of you meditating 2 to 3 times a week, possibly right before bed. I'd like you to try this for the next 6 weeks. Of course, we can check in about your progress before then, and even modify the goal if need be. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? I'd love to hear more about your kids and family. And the end.